Before you start uploading continuously and consistently, there's one setting here, upload defaults, that's going to help you just be more consistent with your messaging. Meaning it doesn't replace the per video optimizations. What it does is it allows you to not make errors, right? There's consistent call to actions. There's consistent links that you want to your website. There's consistent disclaimers. There's a consistent message and brand that's going to be on every YouTube description that you have. You want to set those up, and that way you don't have to worry about them later. And the consistency builds a lot of trust, and it also, the errors compound over time. You don't want to miss links. You don't want to miss those types of things. So the key takeaway here is execution. You should be focused on the individual optimization of that particular thing and not all the consistency on everything else. So that is key. And that's going to save you time, and you're going to crush it. A couple last things on the settings. First of all, there's a complete guide to the settings in the description of this course. On this home tab, until you get a lot of content and start doing some things, this might come into play. Just a user interface, not SEO or anything like that. But for now, just click that. You're good. And then also down in this settings tab, we did the channel settings. Now the defaults. Don't ever default a title. That's super specific to the video that you're uploading. So you don't want to default that. That'll lead to poor performance on your video. So that needs to be intentional per video. Don't default that. Description, you're always gonna have a custom description. However, this will appear at the bottom of each description. I choose this. It's very similar to the channel overview, of what I'm doing with this channel. And it helps because, and I always try to provide helpful, right? Don't provide any kind of salesy link there. I provide a link. You want a free, website audit. That's great. That's something helpful. So keep things helpful, and then keep it very generic to what the channel is. And then the description, as we get into the video optimization piece, will be above there. Visibility, obviously public. This is not a private channel. You're not doing this for private. Tags, low value. Doesn't matter. So I just leave them blank. Advanced settings, standard YouTube license is fine. It means you own your own content. These things like the Creative Commons, that's essentially, you're allowing people to do things with your content. So standard YouTube license is fine. Category, not a high ranking factor. You can come back to it when you got a more developed channel. The categories are not very inclusive. Right? For me, it would be education. It's not going to have a hell of a lot of SEO value. I will put it there. So if you've got one of those categories that fits, go for it. If not, that's no big deal. Language makes sense, self-explanatory. Keep this checked. Engagement equals trust. You're going to want that. So let me say this before I move on, but then I got to open it back up. Okay, so that was saved. Permissions, just real quick on this. These things, a manager essentially can do everything, and an editor can do everything a manager can do except for delete content, right? And then there's a series of editor type roles, and they're self-explanatory here. A viewer can come in, your studio and look at your data. That's it. Good for, someone that's looking at analytics or things like that. So that's what those permissions would mean there. Community moderation, I leave comments on, right? Viewer posts, I leave this off because it basically prevents a lot of spam. You only want your subscribers posting because that's your community. I don't have any blocked words. I do leave this checked, right? So it prevents some spam in the comments, and that's a good thing to do. User management, this is essentially like reactive, right? If things are happening with your channel and you need to, post some rules and moderate and things like that, then you get into this kind of stuff. For now, don't worry about it. Creator demographics. This is for you, the creator. No need to fill that out. You can if you want. And agreements. You've essentially opened up your YouTube channel. You've already agreed to this, but you can go see what you've agreed to there. That is it. Again, there's a complete guide. None of this stuff is that high up on the algorithm of ranking your videos, but it's nice to have right. You'll really only have to do it once. Come back to it each quarter and make sure it's right. But that's it. So let's go.